clicked that I was gonna be live on Twitter, but I don't think that's going through for some reason. Maybe I need a subscription on Twitter, and I am not buying a subscription on Twitter. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. Right, live on YouTube. What about Twitter? Is Twitter working? No. Alrighty then. That's not working. I don't know how to work Twitter then. Alright, whatever. Because I did click go live on Twitter. But it's like just probably not a thing, I guess. But yeah, today just chilling, playing some Battlefield 2042. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Depending on how this goes, or how long I stream for, I may hit up some Elder Scrolls Online, because I haven't played it for like a long time, and I know they're bringing out multi-classing. It's gonna be interesting. A Dragon Knight with heals, that'd be insane. With like Breath of Life or whatever they call it now. I was gonna play Chivalry, but apparently it's like not working. Chiv. Apparently, like Battlefield's not working either. Preparing. Yeah, I don't know how you go live on Twitter. Media. New. 5 years later. Battlefield? Did it crash? Press play again. Is EA having issues? Is that what I'm seeing here? Is that what's happening? Oh. My god. Maggard. Just gonna hide this display for a second, just so I don't leak anything. Kind of like the last thing I need. It's loading. It's doing something. Can I play this now? It says it's running. Bro, I have no idea what's going on here. Is it like running? Because I don't. It says it's running, but. Task manager. EA anti-cheat is running. EA is running. I don't see any battlefield though. There ain't no battlefield. Just press stop on the game, confirm. Alright, let's retry. Oh, it's doing something. It's doing the thing. Doing many things. The latest version of EA anti-cheat is required, please. Well, just give me the latest version then. Why do I have to go find it? Why can't you just like give me it to download? Yeah, let's hope that new Battlefield's pretty good. I'm only playing this one because it's downloaded. Like, I have all the other Battlefields. We could only dream, man. I'm just waiting for this. Your boot is not enabled. Learn. I don't know what's going on with this game. I may just play a different game. If this is like struggling to like quick. Struggling. No, it wasn't as bad as people said it was, but it was like it was a bit of a step back from what they had going on from the other games. I think that's what people were like upset about. I don't know what's going on with my Battlefield though. Me try. So stupid. I think like the reason people hated on it was just because like you had Battlefield 1 and the World War II one. It was just like those two were pretty good. I've tried. Yes. Maybe I just had to close EA and restart it. I haven't touched this game in like 2 months as well. The issues persist. Like, I just wanted to play a shooter, man. Come on. Do have hell let loose. Yeah, this is not working. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So I guess I'll just play something else. Yeah, I think that's the way they're going with the new one. I hope. Now I'm gonna play a game which I haven't played like ever. I may need to get my controller for this one. May need my controller. Because it's a lot more easier to play on controller. The Elder Scrolls Online, holy shit. Yeah, Bad Company 2, yeah. Bad Company 2 was like my first introduction to Battlefield. And then I went into Battlefield 3. And Battlefield 3 was just... I think Battlefield 3 is where they like peaked. And probably Path 4. Battlefield 4 release though was just like one of the worst. Like that launch. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know how the Elden Ring movie's gonna go. Let's just hope it's good. It's a great universe, so... That was loud as hell. Like, the universe of, like, Elden Ring on Elder Scrolls is just, the lore they have to work with is insane. So we'll see. Let me just grab a cable for this controller. This is loud as hell. Holy shit. Let's turn that master volume down a little bit. My controller working? Accessibility. I logged out, now I can't log back in. Okay, alright, okay. Wait, what did that say? You know, sometimes I feel like I'm just making things worse. Honestly. I feel like... I feel like that just made things, I somehow just made things worse than they needed to be. Yeah, most people did like 4. I liked 4. Like, both were good. Like, the whole, like, map design of those were, like, so good. Alright, let's try that again. I'll show screen in a minute as well. So I logged in, but now I can't log in anymore. Is the servers down? But I was just in them. An unexpected error. Okay. Can I choose a North American server? So North America works. I ain't playing North America, bro. It ain't happening. It's just typical, man. That's just typical. I want to play ESO. The EU servers are down. I wanted to play Battlefield. Battlefield's not working. Sag. Big Sag. Yes, I have returned. Today I'm just chilling on some games. Just doing some relaxing game time. Well, I say relaxing. No games are working for some reason. I say relaxing. Reacting to YouTube vids is working? Yeah. True. Very true. That might just what I might just go back to today, just like watching videos. Damn it, you're not right. I'll tell you that. You're not, I mean, you're not wrong. Definitely not wrong. Most definitely not wrong. Right, I'm gonna try ESO one last time. The Elder Scrolls Online doesn't work. We'll just go into watching videos because this is. But I have to be careful today because I am live on YouTube. So I can't really like go too far into stuff. Because YouTube is like way more strict than Twitch on what you can actually like show and stream. Yeah, like that's all. Yeah, alright. Okay. Alright then. Okay. Okay, alright. Okay. I believe. You know what? I would say I believe on Battlefield. It might have been Battlefield. That was amazing. I don't think I ever played that one. One I never played. You've been fired by the gaming community? It feels like that. It does feel like that. And the best thing is, if when I actually do get into Battlefield, if I ever do, I suck at the game. Like, so It's not gonna be the best gameplay either. Average at best. Secure boot is not enabled. Learn how to secure boot at... I just don't understand. I don't understand. You know what? You know what? We can't do gaming today. Kissed. Actually kissed. Like, I'm not sure how it's cased or why it's cased, but it's just not happening. Can I stat this game? Is this game working? The thing is as well, my PC is not the best. It is not the best at all. It's like a £600 PC, which is why I mostly watch what do you call it, YouTube vids on it, and do like that type of content. It struggles to run like Hell Let Loose, but we'll see. We shall see. Because Hell Let Loose may just work for us. And it is. Sweet. And it's loud as hell. I'm actually being deafened right now. Watch it be like can't log in. Huh? We got the intro, but this is probably because I haven't done anything on my PC in like God knows how many weeks. So it's just refusing to work and do anything right. Other than watch videos on YouTube. Sure. Maybe World War III is starting? God, I hope not. I ain't ready. I'll never be ready, but you know, definitely not ready today. My day off, man. My day off work. I don't need World War III right now. I just remembered as well, this game is not on my SSD anymore. It's on my HDD, so I imagine those load times are gonna be hell. I could probably quickly move it over to my SSD. Not sure how long that would take though. Alright. I can feel my mouse lagging, that's how bad this is right now. Quality. My settings. I felt my mouse lagging. Medium. Did this game have an update? Music. Insane. Oh my god, it's actually frozen? You kidding me? No, we're back. We're back. We're back. Espanol. This one seems good. Right, while that's happening, oh, we're just joining. I was gonna try and turn the graphics down just a little so the PC could actually run it. I'm sure like streaming on 2 different websites as well is not helping. Stressing my like budget PC out. July 1943. Actually watched something like pretty interesting about like when the Nazis were in, I think it was like the Soviet Union and Poland, and they ran out of like labor and stuff, so they decided to like get like people from the Soviet Union to actually like work in Germany in the factories because the demand for labor was so high, and like the people they were bringing over from the Soviet Union, the prisoners, and like the Polish people as well, were like actually just like dying in the factories, which is horrible. And they were like giving land to German people in Poland so they could have their own life things. Likely, I think Hell Let Loose mostly goes off GPU. It's CPU intensive, yeah. Well, this also you have to put into account. This is on my HDD drive and not my SDD. So it's gonna be, the load times are gonna be ass. Which I didn't think about because my SD card is not a like storage capacity. It doesn't have a high one. Lost connection, bitch. Yeah, it is. I think what we should do before we start this is stop the game. This is my plan now. Move that to the SD card. Storage. So if I move Battlefield to that one and then move, because we can play Battlefield because EA hates us. Yeah, I don't know how we used them. Well, I think it was because games were more compressed back then. I don't know what it is now, but like games, every like new game that comes out is like 200 and 100 gigabytes. Now games are like crazy sizes. When back then it was like 60 to 50 gigabytes would be like your biggest game. It's like things aren't compressed anymore. It's like insane. Ten seconds. Yeah, I'll move it to the SSD. Should load up faster then. I'm just moving Battlefield right now. Seems to be taking an eternity. So in the meantime, oh,
once upon a time, there was
Jimmy
a
the Giant
nation
just
called
released the video.
Britain. And Britain was part of this
Oh, might as well.
collection of nations called the EU. They spent many years together, holding hands,
No idea what this is
laughing,
about.
working together,
The dark
building
truth
together,
behind the
creating a whole
anti-EU
world
agenda.
together before things went a little bit sour.
Brexit means Brexit.
In 13 minutes.
We'll watch this video. I'm just gonna move some stuff over to like different drives in my games, and then I'll play some games after the video.
Time, we will
So not many React videos today, no.
leave the European Union.
Now this right here, right, it's not going to be your usual Brexit video. We're not going to talk too much about the buses or why Boris Johnson's a prick, but instead we're going to be focusing on a much more important part of the Brexit story, a part that no one told you about how the EU became a
Britain's a
battleground
conspiracy?
for a secretive civil war amongst the billionaire class itself. Today we're going to explore the
It's just a made-up island out in the ocean somewhere. That's what it is. There's actually just island, and then there's the European Union. There's like Britain is just like not existing. It's like surrounded by fog and mist. Kind of like when you see Vikings like on the ocean. And they discovered this strange land.
So first off, my friends, we have to talk about why does the EU exist? Where did it come from? We see after World War II, 6 nations called France, you've probably heard of it.
We surrender.
Italy, Germany,
The only thing that's good about the EU, if you're outside of it, like or like in the region of Europe, is the trade. Like the access to trade and freedom of movement. That's pretty much about it.
Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. The bros got together, and in 1951 they joined forces to create the European Steel and Coal Community. I know it's not the sexiest name, but the idea was pretty smart. If coal and steel, which were the raw materials to make bombs and tanks, if they were shared between all these nations, then maybe Europe might stop blowing itself up every few.
I think it was today it was announced that Germany is going to start manufacturing missiles for Ukraine, which I saw in the news. And there's going to be like it's not going to be restricted on how big the range can go on these missiles, so they can actually reach into Russia, which is insane.
Years, and it worked. Now, years would go past, they would go through a few different rebrands, but by 1993, they had now called themselves the European Union. Now they shared policies, they shared an entire citizenship, and they shared their own currency. However, right, you know, it was all cool and everyone was having fun, but there was one member of the EU who always, you know, just kind of kept the EU at arm's length.
This European Union is
the new communism.
Good old bloody Britannia was never part of the original, like the OG Euro squad. In fact, we were rejected from even being allowed to join in the beginning.
Where are you
but it would
from,
be by the 60s,
Donga?
where, you know, we
Donga
were
man.
sat out in the garden enjoying a book, and we could hear a party going on next door. The Europeans, right? It was popping off, right? They'd become a money printer. Economies booming, trade flowing, and yeah, there was less world wars than before. We decided to send
That's a big
late
play,
night
innit?
DM to the
Less world
Europeans, and
wars.
We said, "Hey babes, you still awake? How about you let us in, you know?" So yeah, we tried to rejoin in the 60s, and it would be the French, under the leader Charles de Gaulle. They objected to us joining.
The meeting of the Common Market Commission in Brussels is in the nature of a wake for Britain's hopes of
Ah, yeah,
joining
okay.
the nations on the continent in a unified economic front. 5 of the member nations welcome British participation.
Yeah, yeah, French, like moving to France is they don't, their English is by far like non-existent from my experience of going to France, like traveling through it.
But France and de Gaulle turned thumbs down.
He was scared that Britain would become a Trojan horse.
I was the same with learning German. That was my experience, because, well, while Germany has like English speaking people, it's mostly in like the business side of things, like hospitality and retail. But like the general public of Germany and France, their English is like it's difficult.
for the interests of the Americans. He feared that Britain would drag
Why do I choose watching this? Because it was like on my screen, and I like Jimmy.
the EU down into a route of deregulation, privatization, and free market liberation. However, you know, if there's one thing us Brits do pretty well, it is smooth talking people. So they let us in by 1973. But you see, right, whilst the Europeans were enjoying their David Guetta and Base Hunter, us Brits stood quietly in the corner. So yeah, when we joined, we didn't join Schengen, like the free movement. We opted for people to
But
have
refused
do
to,
passport
yes.
checks at our border. Notably, we didn't adopt the euro. We kept the pound. And we even managed to negotiate a literal discounted rate for our membership. And you might be sat there wondering, why? Why are us Brits so...
Yeah, Norway and Sweden as well. Sweden's pretty good. Yeah, the English people are funny. Like, they're easy to get along with.
stubborn?
But the economy in the country is not doing that great.
Friends, it comes down
So,
to a little known thing
But I suppose that's everywhere you go, isn't it?
called British exceptionalism.
Like, that's
As a, you know,
one thing I found when I was in Germany. Maybe it was the language barrier, but when I was in Germany, I found that people weren't as outgoing or as friendly as British people are. Especially like where I live, up in like Yorkshire. Yorkshire people are just some of the funniest people you could hope to meet.
drinking Brit, deep in my heart and all other Brits' hearts, is this just quiet feeling of intense superiority to everyone.
Oh, Ronnie Pickering!
Ronnie Pickering. I was working in the shop one day where I work in retail, and a guy came out of nowhere when I was on the till serving customers. And he was like, "Do you know who I am?" I was like, "No." And he was like, "I'm Ronnie Pickering." And I was like, "Okay." He said, "Do you know what that is?" I said, "Yeah, the YouTube video." And he was like, "Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?" And then he just walked away, and I was like, "Okay, that was an encounter."
This is due to our long history of the British Empire controlling the world. But you see, after World War II, the British Empire died. And this is a fact that our country has never actually come to terms with. In our imagination,
Yeah, the culture's
we still
different.
see ourselves as like strong Britannia. And really, we are just a
I had the same with
So
Germany.
when it came
Like
to-
that's why I moved back to the UK. Because like it was just so different, like the culture was.
EU, we always felt that we were too.
I
cool
did
to
not
basically be
integrate.
just a part of a team. But you see, whilst it is true that British exceptionalism exists, for some reason it is.
I wasn't very good
completely
at it.
Utterly overshadowed by our undying subservience to the Americans.
There is an extraordinarily special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom.
Building on the special relationship. Special relationship.
Very special.
Special relationship.
Special relationship.
Special relationship.
The so-called special relationship between
3
America
years.
and Britain basically means that if America
And
tell
another
us
3,
to do
she got
something, we will do it. No
permanent
questions
residence.
asked.
That's
And so you've
insane.
got to see
3
this from the
years.
perspective of the EU. In their eyes, we didn't seem like a real true partner. We seemed more like a backdoor for American influence into Europe. And so yeah, within Britain, this sort of
That's
too
a
cool for
long
school attitude
process.
we had towards the EU, well, it planted seeds.
So like
of
6
what would
years in
become
total
known
just to get like
as
that stuff sorted.
Enter
Crazy.
Margaret Thatcher.
Of course, the chairman or the president of the commission, Mr. Delors, said at press conference the other day
Who
that
can
he wanted the European
integrate into Germany? I said I couldn't integrate into Germany because I was like, I was too British for it. And the people went they went my like, I don't know, they didn't seem, but like they didn't seem open enough. But like what I said was like maybe it was just the language barrier I had that was the problem. So I wasn't able to like connect with people there as much.
Parliament to be the democratic body of the community. He wanted the commission to be the executive, and he wanted the council of ministers to be the
And
Senate.
I tell you what it is. It always feels bad when you're there speaking English in Germany, and like the people around you, the German people, are like speaking English for you. You kind of feel like you're like you definitely feel like you're the odd one out in the group, because everybody's like, it's nice that they speak English to you as the only English speaking person around the table, but yeah.
No, no, no.
Before we go any further with this video, I always get DMs from you lot asking how do I edit these kind of videos. And I'll be honest, I wish that when I started I had today's video sponsor, InVideo AI. InVideo AI is your creative partner. He's your right hand
Yeah,
man.
once you
He
get
can
past
take
that
your
process,
video idea-
it'll be nice. There'll be like a lot of stress behind you too, for sure.
or a script and put it into the AI, and it will generate an entire video for you, either from generative AI or stock video footage, and it will do it in minutes. The reason this is so helpful is because when you make a video, you don't know until it's finished and exported if it's a good idea. It's just a concept in your head until it's done. And sometimes what's a good idea in your head doesn't actually translate into video that well. So InVideo AI allows you to type a prompt into the AI and literally see how your video might look before it comes time to even film it.
And most importantly,
You keep your AI to yourself, brother.
Anyway, back to the video.
You keep that AI.
Relationship to
I'll
the EU
pass.
is kind of interesting, right? Because early
All
on,
yours,
she
Jimmy.
was weirdly pro-Europe. I mean, look at what this bitch wearing. She looks like she's about to organise a geography pub quiz. But you see, over the years, Thatcher's
I hate
relationship to Europe would get
Margaret Thatcher.
strained. Whilst the originally named EEC started out as just a trading club, slowly it was starting to morph into a political union. Yeah, Maggie, free trade fundamentalist
Maggie absolutely destroyed the UK. Like, actually destroyed it.
Maggie, she was happy with, you know, selling to the continent, but she was not happy with Brussels telling us what we can do. Only America gets to do that. Thank you very much. By the late 80s, Thatcher was now rallying against the European superstate. You know, she was banging on about sovereignty and bureaucrats.
But working more closely together does not require power to be centralized in Brussels or decisions to be taken by an appointed bureaucracy.
And as Thatcher's tone towards Europe hardened, so did the press. The Sun, the Mail, the Express. Somehow, through just, you know, very creative storytelling, they had managed to take the boring bureaucracy of the EU and turn it into like this evil villain. Fear-mongering that they were going to ban us from having bendy bananas. Also, that they were going to ban our prawn cocktail crisps. And that there was so
Those
much
bastards.
regulation that even a simple cabbage required 26,000 words of regulation written about it. Most of these stories were bollocks. Some of them were like half truths, but it didn't matter about that. What mattered is
Not
that
the bendy
it sold
bananas.
newspapers and it stoked rage.
It is the less informed and more popular tabloids who have been at the centre of many Euro-myths. The European Commission keeps a list dating back to the 90s, and some of the misunderstandings drive them bananas.
The Brussels
This ain't
elite became the
ESO.
stand-in for anything that made Middle
ESO, I can't
Britain
log in for
feel
some reason.
small and sidelined. It wasn't
I can
really
log
about
into the
bananas, it was
North
about
American server, but not the
identity. How
EU
some
server.
faceless
So I
grey
think it's
suit
down.
from somewhere foreign has the cheek to tell us how bendy our cucumbers
I
can
was
be.
going to play it. I'm just waiting for stuff to move over, and then I'll change titles.
Short of what it's meant to achieve.
But you see, behind the headlines and what was being told to the ordinary people of Britain, something else was really motivating.
Censoring
this
Americans?
Euroscepticism. You see, what was
What does
really
that even
happening was
mean,
a
though?
power bout. The
Censoring
bureaucracy
Americans.
of the EU was
Is that just
actually-
like press? So it would be mainly like journalists and stuff like that. That's pretty bad.
weakening the
If they go
power
forward
of
with that.
British oligarchs. The media mogul Rupert Murdoch once famously said, "When I go to Downing Street, they do what I say. When I go to Brussels, they take no notice."
'Cause if-
And so, unsurprisingly, from
You're like a journalist from, say, the UK, and you're maybe like the BBC or whatever. And you're like, maybe just like criticizing the US government, then I imagine that would like be imposed on you.
the 90s onwards, Rupert Murdoch's enormous media machine pumped out endless
But that's
anti-EU
like
propaganda.
that's what the Trump administration is going for there, isn't it? They're like, they want to censor. They want to censor like news outlets and stuff like that. Yeah, I know. It's like, well, they're throwing people in vans, aren't they? They were pro-Palestinian protesters who were like protesting, and they said they were like pro-Hamas, but they weren't. They were pro-Palestinian, and they like threw them in jail. I think one of them got out recently, though. I forget his name, who it was. But yeah, if you like speak out about out against the government, then it's looking pretty bad lately for journalists and stuff in America.
Propaganda to the masses. What started out as grumbling over red tape
And just
eventually
protest in
evolved
general in
into a
America are going to be shut
full-blown
down more easily.
identity movement. This created a perfect storm, you know, throwing a pinch of nostalgia for the British Empire, some late-stage Thatcherism and media manipulation, and suddenly British Euroscepticism went mainstream.
This banana is the stuff of war.
This European
What?
Union is the new communism.
It's not Britain no more, is it?
But look, before we get too deep into the pint-wielding, flag-waving, Weatherspoons nationalism, we need to talk about a different type of Eurosceptic. A type of Eurosceptic that we often don't hear about.
Yeah, so my main reasons for voting to leave the European Union. First of all,
This-
I campaigned with my trade union to leave the
Yeah, like trade unionists would obviously want to leave the EU because it imposes restrictions on trade unionists, and the European Union has pretty good like union busting stuff. So I know why he would do it. The new trade union. Yeah, like if you speak out against the American government right now, and you you saw the thing with like Hassan Habib like recently coming back from France. When he went back into America, he was like almost detained, and they questioned him like, does he like Trump? Like, what type of questioning is that?
the European Union, which has always had a position.
If you hate Trump,
that
are
the
you going to be
European
like
Union and
detained?
Previous iterations of it are a barrier to implementing policies in this country, which are so.
Yeah, they're violating the
Yeah, people don't talk about this a
Constitution.
lot, but there has been a long tradition of Euroscepticism from the left of the political spectrum. For the socialist left, it was also about sovereignty and taking back control, but for very different reasons. The reason being is they saw the EU as deeply neoliberal, upholding capitalism capitalism, pushing
Yeah.
privatization, and expanding the wealth of billionaires.
The European Union has been a primary source of anti-trade union legislation.
Yeah, like I said.
Anti-trade union rulings. It's been a source of neoliberal policy.
Like, if
and
you're a trade unionist and you want to, like, get better rights for workers, leaving the EU is actually a good thing. Because the EU is actually, like, unionist, or unions, should say.
makes austerity permanent, which is something we want to escape from.
So let's go through it, right? If we start with the structure of the EU, the European Commission, which is arguably the EU's most powerful body, is unelected. You'll hear this a lot from the right, and it is true. Them lot set the EU's agenda. They can
And the
draft
thing with, like,
legislation, and they wield massive clout.
Going back to the US, like, detaining people, you'll probably see this more widespread across other countries as well, because once it becomes acceptable for America to do things like this, other governments will push for the same thing. We have it in Germany already, have had it for a long time. They've just been arresting people who protest. And you'll start to see it in the UK, because Labour wants to crack down on these types of protests and people who speak out about certain things. Like, you'll start to see it, like, spread more. It won't just be America. It's getting to that point in, like, countries and in governments where they want to shut down, like, certain free speech. Le Pen next election, yeah, that's also a terrifying a possible future, because if they get Marine Le Pen in, it's definitely not going to be good for the French. I mean, who was it? Macron, who, like, the majority of the, I think it was like last election or something, like the socialist parties or the left parties all came together and formed like a big leftist movement, and Macron just, like, shut that movement down. So the left doesn't really have a chance because they've been blocked by the actual government. EU pushing for censorship? Yeah, EU is definitely pushing for censorship. EU Commission spend 750 million in media landscaping. Oh, shaping, yeah. Yeah, they want to shape the media as, like, the best they can to, like, fit their narrative and how they want the country to move forward. And, like, the ideals they want people to embody.
And we don't vote for them. Who we vote for is MEPs, members of the European Parliament. Them lot, you know, they can approve, they can amend, they can reject legislation that is proposed by the European Commission, but very
He was one of them, wasn't
importantly,
he? An MEP. Farage.
the people that you vote for cannot propose new laws. On top of that, the EU is swimming in lobbyists. 20 to 30,000 lobbyists are in Brussels, making Brussels second only to Washington DC for corporate influence. While some people on the left saw the EU as like a neoliberal club, others saw the EU as like a necessary check on the British Parliament. The EU enforces some very important minimum standards that we as a nation don't necessarily have to. Things like strong workers protections, food safety protections, and environmental protections. In the UK, where we have no formal written constitution, our Parliament has the power to just rewrite rules on a whim. The EU provides a layer of basic protections for people, but there is a dark side too.
Hundreds of demonstrations have taken place worldwide against a planned free trade agreement between the US and the EU. There's intense opposition to TTIP, as it's known.
TTIP, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. Why are all the names so fucking boring? TTIP is a deal between the EU and America. This deal would basically allow big major corporations to sue individual governments if they passed laws that they deemed harmed their profits. If, I don't know, Poland decided, hey guys,
I don't know how much influence Russia has over this current administration, like in America. Obviously, like, Trump is He's pretty pro-Russia, I would say, like Trump is, because he hasn't put any sanctions or anything on them. He's tried to like negotiate with Putin. I don't think he's gonna have any luck with that. From what I've seen so far, and I don't think he ever will. Like what you said, like pushed for Trump to like invade Greenland. I don't know what the idea is from Trump on that. He did say he wanted to annex Canada as well, and like what do you call it? Take Greenland for their minerals, but it's like it's just so stupid, like that he's actually saying these things. And yeah. Even if he wasn't, there's chaos among our allies by threatening to declare war on them. Yeah.
We don't really want you to put
microplastics
in our food. Shell.
I don't know who's like, maybe no one is, but I don't know who's like telling Trump to like say these things. It seems like he's just saying it on a whim and like off the top of his dome. So I don't know how Trump is like gonna just like stand there and just like continue to say these things and not face any like consequences. Like, because he's just fucking relations with other countries so bad that it's just gonna get to the point where no one wants to like actually deal with the US. But the US is like the largest economy in the world, so they don't really have a choice. We must leave NATO.
Or could just turn around and say, fuck off, mate. We'll see you lot in court. And like the deep irony to TTIP is that the French and the Germans, they were backing out of this deal. They didn't like it. However, who'da thunk it? Britain.
And, like, I don't know what the significance of leaving NATO would bring though. Like, I don't see. I'm not a fan of NATO myself, because like they're supposed to be a peacekeeping force, but they haven't really been peacekeeping. They're kind of just like a Russia deterrent at this point. That's all they're for. They're just there to scare Russia, and like they've been used in the past for like Afghanistan and shit like that, but I don't really see the use for NATO.
We were the ones leading the charge on this deal. It's almost as if...
And maybe I'm just like being uneducated about the whole NATO thing. Maybe that's just me.
American influence had slipped into the
because I haven't really looked
the back door of the UK.
too much into it.
If only someone had warned us about that. But then if all that is not enough, there was one other situation.
The future of Greece's government hanging on a vote of confidence later today. It's the latest complication in that country's debt crisis, which threatens to cause problems around the world.
So after the financial crash, Europe had pursued a policy of austerity, cutting public spending and basically impoverishing lots of people. In January 2015, a party called Syriza won the Greek election on an anti-austerity platform.
The people of Greece are taking in Syriza's momentous victory in the snap general election. Both Greek and European markets fell this morning, but voters were undeterred by warnings of negative consequences should they revolt against years of austerity measures.
Later in 2015, just to absolutely make sure, guys, it is austerity we don't want, right? They had a referendum on it, with 61% of Greek people voting no to more austerity. Now, austerity in Greece was part of the deal for them to get money from the EU's IMF bank. And so the EU turned around, right? Whilst Greece was, being cute and doing their little thing, through a body called Troika, turned around and basically said, nah, mate.
Looks like
austerity.
Back on the menu, boys.
They basically held the Greek government hostage until the government folded. The EU overruled their democracy, forcing them back into austerity, wrecking Greece.
Deadly rage against Greek government austerity measures was burning in the streets of Athens Wednesday, literally and figuratively. Angry protesters tried to storm parliament. They were repulsed by riot police.
I would imagine he would have gotten that like talking point from Russia, because like no other American president has been like throwing out ideas like that, but Trump is like, I think he like sees like the Russian president as someone who's like a strong man because that's what like Vladimir Putin portrays himself as, a strong leader. So his ideas would be probably good to someone like Trump, who also views himself as a strong man.
Lobbing tear gas.
So I imagine like his ideals, like Trump's ideals and Putin's ideals, like their way of thinking would pretty much go hand in hand if they were like put in the room together.
Campaigners began to deliver their final messages to the British public on Wednesday, a day before the UK's referendum on whether to stay in or leave the European Union.
So, when the referendum came to Britain on, whether we stay or leave the EU, some people on the left asked a fair question. If the EU can just simply crush Greece's democracy when they wanted to end austerity, and that they could push trade deals that would allow Shell to sue your parliament, how could we ever imagine building socialism inside the EU?
Yeah, it's not possible.
Let us be together and recognize another world is possible.
That's crazy that he did this, by the way. Like, the movement behind Jeremy Corbyn was actually crazy. And he would have won if the media and their rich backers would not have created that anti-Semitic smear campaign against him. He would have 100% have won. Like, Jeremy Corbyn would have just been the best thing that could have happened to England. But, yeah. It didn't happen.
If we come together to understand the power we've got and achieve that decent, better society.
He recently came out and said that, I think it was like something he said, like, we hear your words or something like that. He tweeted, and we are looking into starting a political party. So we may see another political party from Jeremy Corbyn, but I doubt it will get the movement it needs to actually take power in this country. Unless he joins like another party, or like takes his party and like joins up with another party.
Where everyone matters.
But now the Labour Party had a problem, because whilst the official Labour Party position was to remain in the EU, its leader, Jeremy Corbyn, was a long-standing Eurosceptic.
You've been very critical of the European Union over the years. Your longtime friend Tariq Ali recently said you're completely opposed to the EU.
There is a left position on leaving. I understand the position. My problem with it is that half of our economy is very much tied to the European Union. I just think there is a strong case on the left to work together with people in Europe. Does it mean I'm uncritical of the European Union? Absolutely not.
So it put Labour in a bit of a bind where they're...
You could have the best healthcare system. Like, America has the money to fund that healthcare system. It is possible, but it's like, it's not going to happen because of like the strong like capitalist built society where a social care system for like people for free, getting free healthcare is not going to happen, because it's like it becomes a drain on their profits. Like, it would become a drain on like rich people. That's what it is, and the rich would not see a benefit to it. So they want to like charge the poor people. I can't remember how much it was, like how like many thousands it was just to ride in an ambulance to the like actual hospital in America. I want to say like $3,000 just to be on the safe side. That's just to get into an ambulance.
Messaging on remaining in the EU became, hey guys, I know the EU is kind of flawed and it's pretty undemocratic and the Greece thing was fucked, obviously. But like, look guys, how about we just stay in and maybe we can fix it from the inside, yeah?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Which, let's be honest, it wasn't quite as sexy as, let's take our country back. So, of course, the main reason that people voted to leave the EU, surprisingly, it wasn't to unshackle the neoliberal handcuffs
that's
and
crazy.
finally tax the rich. That might have been your reason, comrade, but probably it wasn't the reason of, your average Brexit geezer.
We want our country back. Let's take our country
Like,
back again.
the fact that it would cost that much is just insane. Let me just
In this period of
change my
campaigning
title
around
on my
Brexit,
stream here.
in the middle of the 2010s, we had just been through about 5 or 6 years of austerity, where people had seen the political elite class pretty much do nothing for working people, just cuts and straining people's lives. There was a growing feeling.
We might as well just watch
like a
politics,
sense of
because I can't be bothered with gaming right now.
being ignored and unrepresented. According to polling, 2 of the top reasons why people voted to leave were to take back control and to restore British sovereignty.
We're too deep into like go somewhere else.
The feeling is perfectly legitimate, but the problem is where and how that feeling was taken and where it was channeled.
Sigma on the wall, who's the skibbidiest of them all.
What?
I'd never heard of you. Nobody in Europe had ever heard of you.
As David Cameron said, it will be another notch for Nigel Farage, and he will then be seen drinking a pint of beer. But he was absolutely right.
The pub bloke, the anti-elitist, the rogue outsider sticking it to the establishment, who was privately educated at Dulwich College, worked as a trader in a bank, who is bankrolled by hedge funders, oil billionaires, and free market think tanks. Farage is known to have taken £40,000 to simply speak at a conference by Nomad Capitalists. This is an organisation that helps ultra-wealthy people dodge taxes.
That's Nigel Farage.
Passports like their Pokemon cards so that they can migrate anywhere they want to in the world. By all definitions, Nigel Farage is the establishment. However, that is not how he presents himself. His Brexit campaign was cosplaying like it was some anti-establishment movement. He would just say anything. You know, he claimed that Turkey was going to join the EU and 80 million Turks were headed to Britain. He claimed that if we came out the EU, our trade deals would become better, which obviously didn't happen.
What we're hearing economically from big global trading companies is Britain will continue to trade, buy and sell goods and services back and forth between Britain and Europe, regardless whether we're members of a political union or not. But, and here's our key point, freed from that, we have bigger, better global opportunities.
But despite these claims being totally false, it painted a compelling picture that Britain's
The thing with
low wages,
Farage, though, right? If he's he's basically the Trump of England. He's basically our Trump. Probably a little bit more tame. But if Nigel is elected, nothing will change. Things will only get worse. And like we'll be in the same sort of we'll be in the same boat as America, where he'll actually try to privatize British healthcare to like put in like an American system where we actually have to pay for healthcare, because I can't see Farage actually supporting the like social care system.
Underfunded hospitals, housing shortages weren't caused by austerity or lack of government investment.
The thing was, a lot of people believed what Farage was saying. That's the problem. He's like this. His party Reform is looking to be the opposition to Labour within the next election, because they're winning so many seats. They're basically the Republicans of England. That's what Farage is. Reform. That's what Reform is. They're the Republicans.
Or even corporate tax avoidance. No, it was Brussels, the EU.
But way more racist.
Immigrants. And the solution was to take back control. That was the real genius of Brexit, is that it tapped into something deep. The cultural instinct of British exceptionalism. A belief that we are strong enough to go at the world alone. But you see, whilst this debate was raging in pubs and Wetherspoons, resulting in the vote being split at 52% to leave and 48% to remain, behind all of this media noise, there was a very different war that was going on. A war that was being fought between the billionaire class itself.
The only way really to understand Brexit is as the outcome of a civil war within capitalism.
On one side, you have what was dubbed by George Monbiot the house-trained capitalists. These are them big
That was a bit of
babes, right? The bankers,
extreme view on that, wasn't it?
Corporate managers. These lot believe in rules and treaties, regulations, international agreements, and international courts. And they don't believe in these things because they're fucking nice guys. No, what they want is an orderly world. One where trade can flow freely, legal contracts abound, and there's no disruption to supply chains. The house-trained capitalists, they need predictability to protect their assets. These are like your Goldman Sachs, your JP Morgans, McKinsey, institutes like the CBI and the Institute of Directors. All of these lot were firmly in the Remain camp. But then, on the other side, you have the warlord capitalists. These are your dodgy dudes, right? These are like the hedge fund bros, oil magnates. To them, right, rules and regulations, they are super lame and super boring. Every regulation that the EU sets is just another way of stopping the bros having a little bit of fun. Workers' rights, data privacy, antitrust enforcement, environmental limits. Give me a break. To the warlord capitalists, the EU is the enemy. So naturally, they bankrolled the Leave campaign. Aaron Banks splashed 8 mil into Leave.eu. This is Britain's biggest ever political donation. And coincidentally, he was at the very same time meeting with Russian officials discussing gold mining ventures. But don't worry about that. The Legatum Institute, which are the geniuses behind
I'm like 100% certain that like all these people that did actually back the Leave campaign were 100% like in connection with Russia. Like I'm almost certain. I'd like, you'd have to like be crazy not to see the links, because like England outside of the EU does make England weaker in terms of trade, and it disrupts the European Union. So you can understand like the viewpoint that would, and why Russia would like want to destroy the EU.
News, which is funded by New Zealand billionaires set up in Dubai. They too funded Leave, and also Tufton Street. Them and their shady dark money web of institutes from the IEA and Taxpayers Alliance, who basically take anonymous money and pump out pseudo-academic bullshit to convince governments to relax regulations.
I know you can't predict what this paper will conclude, but on sort of standards in terms of livestock and things like that, do you think it will have something to say?
Yeah, I'm sure it will say, I would be very surprised if it doesn't say deregulate the, we've got to get our regulations down to make sure that more products can come to market.
All of these lot were pumping out a very similar message. Leave the EU, cut the red tape, and unleash the markets. They made Brexit, like on the surface, this emotive story that the EU was holding back British businesses and the entire British economy. You'd have people like Boris Johnson going on stage wiggling around a smoked kipper in his hand, blaming EU bureaucracy that you have to pack an ice pack with it, despite the fact that that was a rule not set by the EU but set by Britain. Boris Johnson would famously say the phrase, "fuck business." And you would hear like major conservatives being negative about big businesses and multinational companies.
The fact that we had Boris Johnson, man, is just so stupid. Oh my god, like the fact that he was our prime minister is just, it hurts to think back to that. It really does. I remember like waking up, putting on the news on the television and just like seeing his face on the news in the morning saying the most outrageous like nonsense. It would just be like why is this guy even given airtime?
This isn't because Boris Johnson suddenly become Marx-pilled, but when he was saying fuck business, what he meant was fuck the house-trained capitalist. When Brexit was being sold as reducing bureaucracy to unleash the British economy, this kind of revolution, what they were saying under their breath was that we need to remove the referee for some of the nastiest companies on earth. But, if that was the slogan of the campaign, we want to deregulate banks, big oil, big tobacco, and let corporations sue your local council, well, yeah, I don't think that was going to sell that much. So instead, they dressed it up in a Union Jack, threw in a few bits about hordes of Turkish people coming, told you that the NHS was going to get 350 million more pounds a week, and sold it under the guise of taking back control. And so, to the house-trained capitalists, the old guard of billionaires, this was terrifying.
Maybe some point down the line, there might be a UK-US trade agreement, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because our focus is in negotiating with a big bloc, the European Union, to get a trade agreement done. And UK is going to be in the back of the queue.
In a panic, in 2016, Barack Obama jumped on a flight to Britain to tell us that if we left the EU, we would be at the back of the queue for any future trade deals with America. Obama wasn't speaking on behalf of us. Obama was speaking on behalf of the house-trained capitalists, global banks, the NATO-aligned trading blocs, and multinational corporations that relied on cross-border regulations. To them, Brexit was like a glitch in the system, something that risked long-term stability and threatened their model of managed and ordered capitalism. But stood on the other side of this was people like Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, Peter Thiel, and Russian state-backed networks. They saw Brexit as an opportunity, a wrecking ball, a way to collapse old alliances and rebuild entire nations as wealth extraction zones.
My bad.
But you see, right, in order to pull off a warlord capitalist coup, they would need the support of working class people. They needed us to vote against our interests. And so, in steps Cambridge Analytica.
Cambridge Analytica acquires and analyses vast amounts of personal data to identify swing voters, to work out what they care about, and then influence them through bespoke adverts on social media.
Cambridge Analytica was backed by the billionaire hedge funder Robert Mercer, and it was shaped by Steve Bannon's tear it down worldview. What they did was use illegally harvest Facebook data to build psychological voter profiles. It made profiles of individuals and learnt their behaviors online. It saw not only what they liked, but what they feared, what made them angry, what made them feel threatened. Up to 87 million people's data was exploited without consent and used to micro-target ads to specific people about immigration, crime, and national identity. So while Cambridge Analytica were bombing timelines, the Russian
I remember hearing about that, the thing you just linked, like that story, that article. Like the EU wanted to, but they said it was like, if I remember correctly, to like stop misinformation on X that was being posted, because like on like X there is a lot of misinformation like that gets posted out there, so you can see that side of it. Elon Musk accuses EU of offering illegal secret censorship deal mid legal battle over Digital Services Act. Yeah, I think it was more targeted towards I'm gonna call it Twitter. There's actually a video on it. Oh my god. Alright. Jesus Christ. Why they put the volume up on that video like that, I don't know. Oh, I'm awake. Holy shit. Yeah, I don't think, like, even if they say it's like because of like right-wing what do you call it, misinformation, or just like misinformation in general that's being posted on Twitter, it could still have like repercussions on free speech in general. From like you don't know what they've got in that like legislation that they want to push to like actually stop people talking on Twitter or like social media platforms. Because even if it is to like block misinformation, which does need like looking into, would they then like shut down people who are, say, like pro-Palestinian, like anti war stuff, like people who are like anti-war and like protesting against that and like tweeting on social media? Like, they could just shut down people who don't agree with the government and doesn't fit the government's way of dealing with things. So it is quite dangerous to like block free speech on like internet, on the online like that.
Also saw this as an opportunity.
It's a double-edged sword.
too are running their own psyop in the background. Researchers have found thousands of Kremlin-linked social media profiles who are pumping out Brexit content to just inflame divisions amongst the British people. This is like a classic Kremlin tactic, to look for and find the cracks in a society and hammer them.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the posts came from...
They shouldn't have any place in like shaping what people think and what people can say.
But some were trolls. Some were fake Facebook.
Like, obviously, some things are just off limits for people to say, like racist and like horrible things. But people should be still allowed to say what's on their mind and their worldview. Like, if you're a racist online, then you should receive consequences for it. But if you're like saying that people shouldn't be blown up, then I can't see the problem with that.
Facebook profiles of Yannan sharing memes about how the EU is planning to ban Yorkshire puddings. Not my Yorkies. I fucking love a good Yorkie. Why Russia were doing this is because a
Yorkshire
broken
pudding is pretty
Europe
good.
is great for the Russian warlord capitalist class. It empowers the Kremlin. If the EU is not united to defend against Russia, then Russia can kind of do whatever the fuck it wants.
Exactly, which is why it funded the Brexit campaign.
And so this clear and obvious manipulation of the Brexit vote led to a 2020 UK parliamentary report stating that the UK government actively avoided looking for evidence of Russian interference, which is political jargon for we found something and we'd rather not talk about it.
Report reveals that no one in government knew if Russia interfered in or sought to influence the referendum because they did not want to know. The UK government have actively avoided looking for evidence that Russia interfered.
This was political protection from the British government, who had spent, you know, the last forever just snorting up dirty Russian money. This was to make sure that we never found out. And like, really and truly...
Why should state care if someone writes a racist comment? Because a racist comment stirs hate in communities. If someone's being racist and like spreading hate online for no reason other than the color of someone else's skin or where they're from, then that's an issue and it shouldn't be tolerated. I'm not saying people should go to jail for this. I'm saying that people should be probably banned or like suspended off that thing so they can't put this type of stuff out there.
The Brexit referendum wasn't just your regular referendum. It was digital class warfare. Cambridge Analytica supplied the tools, Russian influence stirred the pot, and Leave.eu delivered the final blow. And, as we all know, it worked.
Isn't it funny? You know, when I came here 17 years ago and I said that I wanted to lead a campaign to get Britain to leave the European Union, you all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you?
So when Britain voted to leave, right, it triggered 4 years of just fucking mind-numbing chaos until the UK would officially leave the EU on January 31st, 2020, severing a 47-year relationship with our closest allies. And you know, it was a
That's why should
bureaucratic
state
mess.
care.
You see, during the negotiations, we were trying to work out...
Like I said, it brings hate towards minorities and ethnic groups, which is not a good thing for the state which those people are living in. Like, you just have to look at the UK riots and what happened on social media then. Like, it was out of control. Like, you had so many people saying, like, in the hotels that the asylum seekers are in. That's an issue. They wanted to ban like the asylum seekers that were in hotels, and I think that states should be allowed to stop the people who are saying ban down hotels.
How does a future without the EU?
Because it not only reflects on the country, it reflects on the population of the country and makes everybody look like straight up racists, which most people in Britain aren't.
EU work, a small splinter faction of free market fundamentalists who have Ayn Rand posters in their bedroom, they swooped in and they were called the European Research Group. We got people like Liz Truss, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Suella Braverman, James
These two are though.
Cleverly, Sajid David, they had hijacked the Brexit negotiations and started to campaign for what was being called a hard Brexit. This means a complete and utter cut from the EU with no agreement on trade, which was, you know, kind of funny, because when people were campaigning for us to leave the EU, we were being told a lot of things. We were being told we're going to get this special deal with the EU. We get to keep all the trade benefits, access to the market. But, my friends, we get control over immigration. This was often sold as...
None of these things happened. Immigration increased. We didn't get the trade deals. It was horrible.
The Norway-style deal. However, the ERG, they didn't want this. And as time went past, more and more people hopped on this hard Brexit thing, and a guy called Richard Tice, who is now a Reform MP, he started backing this campaign called Leave Means Leave. And they were proposing turning London into what was called Singapore-on-Thames, which meant to take London and turn it into an ultra-low tax and ultra-low regulation zone.
What's your vision for Brexit then?
So having a low tax, low regulation, high growth economy, just in my industry alone, I mean, which is real estate and construction, we've got all sorts of very time consuming, very expensive EU rules on procurement. You know, this is the sort of stuff that I want to change in the way this country is run and governed.
This crew of political extremists, they were the puppets of the warlord capitalist class. And so in the end, we of course never got our Norway-style deal. We didn't stay in the single market or the customs union. We got a bare bones basic free trade agreement. And within a day of leaving, the pound sterling crashed by 10% and imports became way more expensive. The deep irony here is that despite Brexit being sold as like reducing bureaucracy, all it did was drown businesses in a new type of bureaucracy. Like, think about it. Leaving the EU was never going to mean you don't trade with Europe. Like, everyone trades with Europe. It's the biggest trading bloc on earth. All it meant is now, if you want to trade into Europe, you have to fill out multiple customs forms, VAT declarations, border checks, rule of origin paperwork. Now, instead of just driving to and from France, your lorry sits and waits for days at Calais. And the irony is, a lot of these Brexiteers were trying to act like they cared about small businesses. But for small businesses in this country, as they grow and grow, the natural thing to grow into is to sell into the European market. I mean, obviously, it makes sense. It's right there. We have a tunnel. It's so easy. But all this paperwork...
No, I know they wouldn't stop at racism. It's clear they wouldn't stop in that. But I think there still needs to be... If it's not regulated by the government, then it needs to be regulated by the what do you call it? The provider of the, say, like the social platform. Like, the problem is it's not being stopped.
And this insane bureaucracy...
Like, I don't care. Well, I do care, but if someone wants to complain about the amount of immigrants pouring into the country, then they should be allowed to say that. But when they start making it about the color of someone's skin and saying that someone who's coming into the country is like possibly a Iranian terrorist, then I think that's a problem, because you're painting like a group of people has like something that's bad when most people that come into this country aren't bad. It's that type of talk that is I'd say bad for like the general public, because most people are told what to think, and they don't really have their own opinions, they just follow. So platforms don't care about homophobic comments. Yeah, that's an issue. I think like social media should actually care and monitor what's going on their platforms.
Now occurred means that setting into Europe has just become too difficult for most people to do, because you have to fill out these forms at every single border across the 27 nations that make up the EU. So what actually ended up happening is tons of businesses that were once set up in Britain,
like anybody can access social media. That's the thing. There's no restrictions, no like age what you can access it. So people go into social media and they get radicalized from this like stuff that happens on it. I mean, you can go on Twitter and you can see the most horrible shit that's being said, and like some of the most graphic and like goriest stuff ever, and you just like it's just normal on there. People are seeing other people getting blown up, like their legs missing, shit like that. And then they can also just like watch pornographic stuff on there as well. There's no limits on Twitter. It's not moderated by Twitter. Good enough.
Move their businesses, their headquarters over
It's an issue.
to EU subsidiaries in order to get around all this bureaucracy.
Now to Brexit and the troubles it is bringing along. Many companies, including Sony, are planning to move their Europe headquarters out of the UK. More on this in our next report.
I mean, it really blows your mind, and it really just
I mean,
shows
you don't have to scroll too far on Twitter to see how like crazy some people are. You could just go on the trending stuff, and you could just see what people are saying. Like, well, we'll do it now. X. Let's see how long it takes me to news. There's just a thing straight away, vote reform. Let's have a look at vote reform. And this isn't just like on the right as well. This is like on the left, where people saying people should die or just like kill themselves, which is not a good thing to say. People shouldn't be saying these sorts of things. I don't want to like pull up any post because I'm on YouTube. I have to remember that. Yeah, and have you heard like some of those people who actually get hired to monitor this stuff actually have to go through therapy and stuff because of like what they're seeing online?
How much political manipulation happened?
Like it's actually a thing that like people who are hired to monitor social media actually have to have therapy because of all the shit they're seeing and shutting down. Like there was a guy who I'm not going to pull it up, don't worry. But like the people monitoring these things, like they've shut down like child pornography sites and stuff like that, and it's just like ingrained in their head, where they've had to like go through all this like horrible things and seeing all this terrible shit that are just out there, just on like normal, like you said, Telegram, Facebook.
We literally spent billions drilling through the Earth's crust to make a tunnel that makes trading with Europe seamless. And then we voluntarily decided to build a bureaucratic wall at the end of it in favor of chasing trade deals that are worth like 0.1% of our GDP with nations like Australia that are 10,000 miles away. And so it is probably no surprise that since Brexit, business investment into the UK has stagnated, whilst at the same time, all of the EU grew. Post the economic recovery of COVID,
Bro, it's took me like an hour and 30 minutes to get through this video. Holy shit.
The UK is growing the slowest. The OBR has predicted that Brexit will cost the UK economy 4% of GDP. That's 100 billion a year, £1,750 per person. By us hoping to follow this sort of deregulation model in order to attract new businesses, but whilst not having a large enough market to warrant selling into, we have basically created a situation where we can take a specific example of like chemical companies.
When you deregulate, you create a separate regulatory system.
The chemical industry spent £500 million over a decade registering their chemicals in the European Union, which gave them access to the British market and 27 other countries. They're now having to re-register all of those chemicals for a separate UK register at a cost now estimated by the government at £2 billion.
So what we've essentially done is ask industry to spend billions of pounds duplicating a regime that already existed in the EU. And because we want to be sovereign, we want to be different, we're building our own. But that is just cost.
And there is another irony. If you ask, I don't know, your uncle why he voted to leave, it's probably going to take him 3 sentences until he says, migrants. Immigration is one of the most cited reasons for people wanting to leave the EU. But since Brexit, immigration has not gone down. It has gone up.
Yeah, but the point I was making is like the stuff that's on these social media platforms are just not being what do you call it? The way it's left my head. Like they're not being dealt with like a lot of the stuff on these social media platforms.
Into the UK here
By the platform itself.
a record 906,000, the highest in British history. And you might be wondering, why is this? Well, with the EU free movement now over, the UK has had to pivot into bringing in more workers from outside the EU to plug the many labour shortages that we have in.
Some freedom and independence is going to cost. Yeah, but I don't think it should be at the expense of others.
Healthcare, care work, logistics, construction, food production, labour shortages that in large part are due to a lack of EU migrants into the UK. Like, without making this an immigration debate, whatever your view of immigration is, there is a simple, unavoidable truth. Just the facts of the matter is that the way our economy is structured, if we stopped immigration overnight, without serious investment into wages and training, the UK would collapse. The UK has massive skill shortages in a wide range of industries. And because as a nation we've become allergic to investing money into our country, we haven't built up a domestic workforce. We didn't raise wages to make them align with UK cost of living, and we haven't funded big training programs. What we did instead was just cut off the supply of EU migrants and then just fucking crossed our fingers and hoped. And just like a little cherry on top of the cake, this whole small boats crossing thing, Brexit arguably created this problem.
A study by Durham University has found Boris Johnson's Brexit deal, the deal also championed by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, is the primary factor in the crisis of small boat crossings in the English Channel. That's right, the government has yet again inflicted a problem on itself.
Beforehand, many asylum seekers got into the UK on the back of lorries from France. But leaving the EU ended our participation in what's called the Dublin Regulation. This regulation actually allowed us to return asylum seekers to the EU country that they first entered. Now, with no such mechanism and tighter controls on our land border, more and more asylum seekers are coming over the sea. And the thing is, taking refugees has literally nothing to do with the EU. It's a UN human right obligation that has existed since basically post-war times. Leaving the EU never meant that we would not take refugees. It just meant that we lost the ability to manage it effectively with the help of other European nations. And that right there is really, it's the bottom line of all of this. And this is the argument that has always been made, is that being outside of the EU, all it means is that we have no say over how the EU functions. So now when we have to go groveling, cap in hand back to the EU saying, please trade with us, we have such little power in that negotiation. Whatever conditions that they choose to give to us, we just have to accept it if we want to work with them. We gain no sovereignty. All we did was lose power and influence voluntarily. So you might be wondering, where are all the Brexiteers now? They got what they want, they can see the country's fucked, and now they've just decided to stop talking about it altogether. They've all moved on. Now they've got bigger things to deal with, like net zero and trans people.
Yeah.
So instead, we...
Like, the thing is, I think, the way it could go down is, like, the state could, like, say to the people who provide these social media platforms to, like, the state could probably say, you need to regulate, that's the word I was looking for, regulate your platforms better, and they should have to regulate it, like the providers of these platforms, instead of just letting people just, like, say horrible shit on them. But that's my view.
The people are just left to deal with the consequences. The consequences...
And I'm only saying that people should be banned off of these things. I don't think that like, you should be arrested or jailed for it.
A stupid war between billionaires. And the economic damage to Britain has been insane. Growth has flatlined and investment has dropped. And Nigel Farage himself even admitted that Brexit has failed.
Economically, the UK would have been better staying in, wouldn't it?
Like, now I'm on YouTube and Twitch. If I were to say, like, any type of racist shit or homophobic shit, I would be banned. Straight up. But I'm not going to, because I'm actually someone who knows how things work, and I'm a logical person. And not insane.
But what I do
Based
think,
on all that?
But what I do think is we haven't actually benefited from Brexit economically when we could have done. I mean, what Brexit's proved, I'm afraid, is that our politicians are about as useless as the commissioners in Brussels were.
And this is the guy who brought it. I need to get myself something. I have 2 cans of cider. I'm gonna drink 1 can of cider.
Obviously, in true Nigel Farage fashion, he blamed that it failed because it wasn't Brexit-y enough. We should have had absolutely no deal. Just crash it all down, let it all burn. Of course, a no-deal Brexit would have instantly triggered massive tariffs against us. That has to be the case. It's under World Trade Organization rules. And that would have slammed British businesses who export into Europe with massive taxes overnight. And it's left us in this really weird bind, because Labour under Keir Starmer are terrified of rejoining the EU, because they see it that when Labour were trying to do a second referendum, it just killed their party. Keir Starmer just wants to keep Brexit parked and quiet, while secretly, you know, reopening negotiations technocratically. And the Tories also don't really want to talk about it because...
Alright, I want to see if the Elder Scrolls Online is actually working. Because my plan was today to just chill on a game and just enjoy some time gaming. And not actually do political stuff. I logged in, holy shit. Holy moly. Haven't played this game in ages. Why do they look the same? Oh, there we go. That's my Dragon Knight. I'll play a Myaconian. Hopefully I can get my controller to work as well. This game has support for some controllers, but support for your device is unknown. Nice! Let me close
It has been a clear
video. I don't need it open right now. Powering censorship. Yeah, that's the issue. That's like the hard thing to deal with it. Door. Free house, golden pursuit. What? Don't think I need a house, buddy. How do I activate controller again? Controls. Are you sure you want to? No. God damn it, man! Where do you turn gamepad? Right there. Automatic. I can turn down the volume, but I can't activate the gamepad, which is weird. Why is it turning? Why can I turn down volume but not actually activate the gamepad? That's odd. If I remember correctly, this is a healer. Pretty sure I spec'd into healing. Yeah. Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. Home tours? Battlegrounds. Oh, you can do solo competitive. That's pretty good. Dungeon Finder. Anything changed on here? No. Zone Guide. Endeavors. Good for endeavors. Golden Pursuits. This is new. Let me just quickly edit my stream title. Stream title. Mm-hmm. I wish my controller worked. But if somebody's on, Is not. Bro, this game was released in 2014. What? Excuse me? Excuse me? It's insane. Also dark as hell. Holy shit. What new things are happening? Got 200 crowns. That's not gonna buy me anything, is it? That ain't buying me shit. My backpack's almost full. No. Critical resistance. What am I running? This is my PvP healer build. I remember. What I don't remember is how to play it.
Rub it in, why don't you? If you must know, Shadowstooler has rejected me. Again.
Nonsense. I'm sure it's just a clerical error. You'll be in the academy next season for sure.
I do wish my controller was like active though. What if I can activate it on Steam? I'm gonna put this in windowed mode. Then I can actually full screen windowed. Here we go. Then I can actually Steam view controller settings, input, yada yada yada. No, we don't want that. No. Even though this controller does support that, we don't want that. Select. Select. As joystick. Ah, so it works on this. Ah, there we go. Right. Oh my god. Bruh. Competitive solo. Q.
The guild has need of you, comrade.
Not bad. Which button is that? Ready. So this is a test of if I can still heal in this goddamn game. Don't want vibration. Is this a new, like, arena? Crazy King? Oh my god, how do I dodge roll again?
Unfathomable! They've secured the point! The capture point moved! Seize the point!
Oh, you're dead, buddy. Yeah, I am so rusty at this game. Holy shit. PvP was not a good idea to, like, get back into. I have no idea what some of my skills do. Maybe play a damage dealer. Have any comments on my last message? I don't know, it like... It's like... Anybody could be labeled with it if they like say the wrong thing. Oh my god, I am not like... Okay, so X is the heal there. But it's like the people also who are like anti-Zionist are like also being labeled as anti-Semitic, which they're not, so it all depends on how you're looking at it, really, isn't it? Bro, how do I dodge? Which one is my dodge button again? That's face piercing. What is dodge? Oh my god. Bro, I'm like getting destroyed here because I have no idea what my controls are. General movement, roll dodge doesn't help. Doesn't help at all. Interrupt. Not bound? Is that the reason why?
Divine's wrath! They've captured the point!
Do you get exhausted fast by playing this game? No, I'm just like, it's been ages since I played it, so I have no idea what I'm doing. There, now I can roll dodge. I should have just like stayed in PvE for a while. That should fear them. And also, I literally don't remember what any of my skills do. Also, this used to be like 3v3v3. And now it's not anymore. Now it's 4v4. Oh my god, wrecked. I'm kind of just waiting for this match to end, and then I'll switch to a character that does damage. Can we not capture the point anymore and just like... So X is ghost. Alright. I just need to remember my buttons here. Sorry buddy, but you're not making it out there alive. Oh my god, how did they get there? I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. Very bad. Very, very bad. I swear I turned off vibration on my controller. I did. So why is it still vibrating? Oh, yeah, this is not a good first game, but first time back. Land had for trial and error.
No, the point is theirs. Will be victorious.
Yeah, that was horrible. These battlegrounds, terrible. Also, POV is way too close in there. View distance, we'll just leave that as is. None of this makes sense. Camera, there we go. Jesus, camera shake, completely off. Camera sensitivity.
Can you believe we have to register to enter the city?
Head bob all the way off.
Maybe that's what all the fuss
Much
is about.
better. Oh my god. Hopefully it's not going to kick me out of the complete game like it did last time. Alright, I have to select it with this. Necromancer, Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight. Two-handed apprentice. What second weapon? Sword and shield? Vigor. Maybe not use Critical Rush on an NPC. Collections? Appearance? What? Ew. Go for the Nord hero. Nice. Stick to what I had. What am I running here? Maelstrom Hammer. Use physical and spell resistance.
I don't remember
Activating critical charge stirs up a...
Can you believe we have to register to enter the city?
I heard the Malborn have spies in the city.
Okay,
Maybe
that's good.
What all the fuss is about.
Weapon damage. It's not really that great. Blood spawn. Warrior's Poet. Okay, so I'm just a tanky ass build. And agility. And stats are not really that great. What am I when I'm... Not bad.
Welcome, friend.
Ew. Ew. Is there anything I can like practice on?
Hold! Speak to me before entering Mournhold, citizen.
Also, I need to bind roll dodge again because it doesn't carry over the characters. That's insane. Remember there being like enemies here. That's my talents. Okay. Ban and strike. Do I have shield charge? Bro, I'm like a noob again on this. Holy shit. Okay, so Y is strike. X is talons. X is wrecking blow. Okay. All right. The buff. Why? Need to remember that that's not the correct button there. It's gonna be tough. How do I call my horse again? There we go. I feel like my game is really dark. Camera control. Just brightness. It is really dark. Ah. Now. Dungeon finder. Could just do a random dungeon. but I'm more of a PvP build. Standard 8v8, sure. That sounds fun. Now, I did read that they're doing like cross scaling or whatever they call it. Man, my Nord is like not good on skills. Oh yeah, companions. The hell is this? Okay.
I'll be just a step behind you.
Oh. Can I have my banker as well? No, I can't. Alright. So this is 8v8. I haven't played this yet. I tell you what it honestly feels like. It's like I've been boosted. It feels like I've been boosted. And I bought an account. Right, so why is Critical Rush? This is such an interesting setup on my back. Holy shit. Hope this isn't too laggy. It looks laggy on my OBS.
The river flows for us.
What are we doing? Chaos Bowl. Okay. Dude just killed him.
Let's go.
All right. I mean, not bad. We're killing people.
Get that ball.
Oh, he's a tank. There's no point. Uh-oh. Actually getting kills. Probably shouldn't have queued into competitive till I get this stat. As a healer as well. Got him.
Snatch the ball! Quick! Ball's in hand! Ball's at the ready!
Do I want to jump into that? It doesn't look like I need to. Oh, he's the tank. I gotta remember to apply my dot damage. Yeah, he's the tank. He's not worth chasing. Oh, no, you don't. Bro, what am I doing? I'll take it.
Charge that ball with your life! Is there a taking? The ball has been dropped! You need to get that ball back!
This is slowly ticking away damage. Oh my god, I need healing or else I'm dead. I'm gonna die. Dead. That damage buildup, holy shit. What is my execute button? Oh my god, I know why it looks laggy on my OBS. Let's try that. No, it still looks laggy. 3 kills. Was in the West. It was at the West. Yeah, I think I know why it looks laggy on my OBS. Game capture. Game capture. Elder Scrolls Online. There we go. Can you like requeue? You can switch. Alright, that doesn't really make a difference. How much damage did I do? There we go. Eh. Eh. Time is it? Do one more. Yeah, okay, it was... What's that? That was causing it to lag. Noted. 8v8 was cool. I don't think I'm ready for competitive solos yet. Puta. What is this? One day at a time? Oh. Supplies. Don't know why I landed that on this character. Not my crafter. I'm gonna leave this stuff in the box. Netch oil lighting. Lightning or whatever. Wow, that kind of sucks. That definitely sucks. Did they change any of the skills, I wonder? Bro. Not even like completely leveled up. Well, it's good to see the PvP community is still active. Holy shit. Execute is okay, left bump. Spin around and strike an enemy down, dealing bleed damage. Rally, noxious breath, stampede, dizzying swing. Okie dokie. Your group is now a large group. Nice. Is that like some sort of power up over there? Okay, that's how I see. stay with the group. Stay bold up. Got him. Ah, sneaky Nightblade. You helped kill. I'll take that. I'll take a helped kill. Oh, he's already dead. Holy shit, man, this build still holds up, which is insane. Not to discredit the healers as well. Damn. Not bad. Not bad at all. That's fun. That is very fun. Appearance. Skins. Sludge Town Driver, I think we're good. Facial hair. We'll keep out beard with the skull on it. Head markings. Hats. That's a cool helmet. Eh. You know what? I dig that. We'll stay with the Bloodspawn helmet, the classic. Personalities. Heroic. Scholar. Swashbuckler. Furious. Furious just looks like he's a child who's upset. The hell is this? Skill styles? Do not have the skill for this skill style. No shit. Applies blessing of protection, sky blue. But how the hell do you get this? Dawnbreaker Dusk Purple. Acquired by completing oh. Ew. Just wasn't reading. Tales of Tribune. Ew. Apparently have a skill point now. That's insane. This guy's not even as powerful as he should be. Rewards for the worthy. Alright, yep. I'm gonna quit this, end my stream. Doubt I'll be live tomorrow. But if I do, I'll probably be gaming on some ESO. Again. But for now, I'm just gonna go chill. This is getting kind of late and I need to do shit. Like some laundry. Alright. Ta-ta for now.